Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble news channel. So I think it's something that has been kind of planned for a while. It's also interesting that MBS was close to Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, as soon as he took office, and while Trump was president. We know this because of emails that have since been made public that show Kushner supporting the idea of stablecoins like an official US dollar stablecoin. I think it was a blog post by Sam Altman that he shared with Steve Mnuchin of the Treasury Department. In it, Altman talked about the USD coin, which is interesting because this was before Circle launched USDC. So it's possible that these talks happened a long time ago and aren't as new as the news stories that have been out recently make it seem. At the July 15th Wall Street Open, Bitcoin was tied around $1.63,000 as buyers looked for signs of more upside. A well-known trader named Peter Brand said that Bitcoin might be following its usual hump, slump, bump, bump, dump, and pump chart pattern. He was talking about how long the correction phase would last. He said that the effort at a double top on July 5th was a bear trap, which was confirmed by the close on July 13th. This means that bears are probably trapped right now. This would not be true if the price closed below $1.56,000. Others were more sure that Bitcoin would stop acting the way it had been. One of them, well-known trader and analyst Rec Capital, told his former fans on July 15th that the Bitcoin downtrend was over. In terms of how prices moved after Bitcoin's most recent block subsidy in April, he showed a map that showed history repeating itself. Aside from the markets themselves, Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, the biggest asset manager in the world, gave Bitcoin bulls a new boost on July 15th. Fink told CNBC that he had changed his mind about Bitcoin over the past 5 years and reiterated his newfound belief in it. "You already know that I wasn't sure." He said, "I was a proud skeptic. The more I learned about it, the more I realized that what I thought 5 years ago was wrong. Here's what I think today. Today, this is what I believe." I think the chances today. He also said that Bitcoin was a real currency. BlackRock runs the biggest spot Bitcoin exchange traded fund in the world by assets under management. After hearing the interview, Eric Bachman, an analyst at Bloomberg ETFs, said it's hard to say enough about how important it is for Larry Fink, who is in charge of $10.6 trillion, to keep promoting Bitcoin as a real asset class for daily portfolios. He said that buying from BlackRock and other legacy companies like Fidelity gives boomer advisors peace of mind and cover to make the allocation. He used the early success of these ETFs as a clear sign for anyone who was paying attention. That's all I have to add to it. It is important to remember that the US has gone to war and killed millions of people to protect the dollar as the world's reserve currency when the petrodollar system was the norm. One of the main reasons for invading Iraq, and there are probably more than one, I would say was that Saddam Hussein had started selling oil in euros instead of dollars not long before the invasion and made a lot more money. He did this to show other OPEC members that they could also make more money by selling oil in currencies other than the dollar. Another example is Libya in 2011. Gaddafi was trying to switch to a gold-backed currency called the dinar and selling it to African countries. Many of those countries use dollars or French money, which is why the US and France pretty much left that alone. Libya went from being the safest country in Africa to being the most dangerous after a regime change operation that had terrible effects. This has been used as an example or reason for why immigration got so out of hand in Europe after that. The US government, or rather the US empire, is willing to go to great lengths to protect the dollar. The idea that they would just sit back and let dollarization happen without any kind of plan is crazy, especially since they knew they couldn't keep this up forever and that the world was going to move to an economy without oil at some point. It's important to remember that these people have been very serious, played very dirty, and caused insane instability just to keep the dollar, the global reserve currency, because it gives the US a lot of benefits, and I fully believe they want to keep those benefits, even if it means a different system. I'm not sure what else you could say. I have something to add about the rope play. I believe it's very much like what Elon Musk is doing, but the opposite way around. Yes, Tether began with money in the form of the stable coin. I know they're working on brain chips and satellites. Musk works on things like brain chips and satellites. He also took over a social network, possibly to get the user data. Now he's turning Twitter X into a bank and he wants to be a part of the whole financial system. What's going on there? The strangeness is compounded by the fact that Musk co-founded PayPal, and all of these connections are related to that company. So to go along with that, a lot of well-known Bitcoin supporters have been saying for a while now that this is the answer to bad central bank policy, bad government economic policy, and other problems like that, as well as to problems with fiat money and other types of debt-based money. In that case, what does the system that wants to connect the dollar to that and use it to keep the dollar going mean? People really need to ask themselves this, because right now Bitcoin-only businesses are taking a lot of money from Tether and saying things like, we're going to use the dollar to make Bitcoin stronger. But you can't say that fiat is bad and central banks are bad and then work with the same system. It does seem a little strange, doesn't it? Yes, I believe that.